anyone ever told you you dream too big, that you have too many ideas, that you need to be realistic? What if there was a career and lifestyle that you could completely design yourself that enables you to do what makes your heart truly sing and helps millions of people benefit from what you have to offer? One that provided you with all the money you need to thrive, not just survive. That is the life of an enlightened entrepreneur. Welcome to the Aha Moments radio show, dedicated to the inspiration, education, and celebration of enlightened entrepreneurs worldwide, with your host, Mariana Cooper, founder of Aha Moments Inc. and AhaMomentsInc.com. Her motto, oh yes, you can have what you want, and you deserve it too. Join us for the next hour and learn to trust your aha moments to lead the way to a passionate and purposeful life. And now here's your host, Mari.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Aha Moments radio show for the inspiration, education, and celebration of enlightened entrepreneurs worldwide. And I know you can hear the excitement in my voice. I am so excited tonight because I have one of my very first spiritual teachers, one of the most amazing spiritual leaders that we have here in the United States, Shakti Gawain, and she'll be on tonight. I'm going to let her talk in a few minutes after, of course, we do our housekeeping. But you know how I say in the beginning of the show that this is for the inspiration, education, and celebration of enlightened entrepreneurs? Well, tonight we're going to celebrate Shakti and all of her amazing accomplishments because we are honoring her 25th anniversary edition of her book, Living in the Light. And this book actually was my very first book the first spiritual book that I actually ever read. It was the beginning of my journey to be here with all of you. And I read this book back in 1986. Can you believe it? So I'm actually dating myself, and my producer was like, how old was I? Like one when I told him about it. So it was kind of interesting. But anyway, I want to go through some housekeeping. Then we're going to say hi to Shakti, and we're going to talk all about everything in this book and her other book, Creative Visualization. And you guys are going to have a chance to call in and ask questions if you'd like as well. And the call-in number for tonight is 347-215-9485. It's 347-215-9485. So, housekeeping, energy check, our AHA energy check. You know, we're in the middle of Mercury in retrograde, and I don't know about you, but I've been getting a lot of calls. People have been text messaging me, and I'm like, oh gosh, I have to wake up in the morning to a text message. When is Mercury in retrograde over? And I'm like, oh my goodness. So it is over on April 4th, okay, everybody? So just hang in there, and and if things seem a little rocky, just focus on the positive stuff. And listening into tonight's show is a really good one to listen to because we're going to talk all about creative visualization and how you can have a little bit more influence on things that are going on in your world. Then, of course, we have a couple of events coming up. We have our 11, not 11, oh my goodness, can you believe it? It's called the old Telesummit, the new Telesummit. We have our Transformation 2012 Telesummit. I was actually working on all the files and everything to get, my assistant Rebecca to get her all set up with all the stuff that we have to write. And I was looking at the files from the last Telesummit, so that title is on my brain. But Transformation 2012 Telesummit, we're having our preview call on April 12th, so mark your calendars. It'll start at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. The registration page should be up by the end of this week. We have all of our speakers confirmed. We have, I believe, 11 speakers plus me, so 12 of us. And I'm really, really excited. Everybody's confirmed. They're ready to go, and we're just working on all the content and all the logistics that go along with the big splashy Telesummit. It will run from April 22nd to May 2nd. We actually added in a day. Summer McStravick is joining us with Flow Dreaming. She's going to be joining us, so we added a day so we could get her in on the roster. So we're really excited about that as well. So anyway, just mark your calendars for that. And you'll hear more about that in the coming weeks. You know, I keep talking about it. I've been talking about it, but I don't want you to miss it. It's going to be even bigger than the last one we did for 11-11-11. So And of course, Body Whispering is the class. If you want to take that class, it's ahamomentsinc.com/body whispering with Dr. Dane and I. That'll begin in May, and we're still taking some registrations for that, so we'd love to have you. You can go to that website and check out the registrations for that. And also, my reading schedule is booking up. I will be stopping readings for several months because I'm going to be on the road traveling and doing a lot of live events and that kind of thing. So if you'd like to get a reading, an Akashic reading or an Angel Outlook reading, please make sure you go to the website at ahamomentsinc.com and look under the Work with Mari tab and get a hold of Jamie. You can just sign up and Jamie will get in touch with you to get an appointment in before April 15th, because after April 15th I'll be taking a break until the fall with all of my private work so I can get all this travel in. So, okay, I think that's it for housekeeping. And let me just tell you the number one more time. I see some of you are already on the line waiting to chat with Shakti. So it's 347-215-9485. Okay, so now let's talk to Shakti. Hi, Shakti. How are you tonight?
Hi, I'm well. Thank you. How are you?
I'm great. And
You sound pretty lively.
Yeah, it's like, yes, I am. I'm very lively, and I'm very excited to have you. And it's very sincere, very, very sincere. So I know you have Living in the Light and Creative Visualization. Creative Visualization came first, and Living in the Light was after that. And your team really prepped me, so I know you had 10 million copies of your book sold in 35 languages. That's amazing. We have, in our last telesummit back in November, we had 84 countries, people from 84 countries registered. So I'm excited that, people listen from all over the world to this show. So I'm excited that your books are available in so many languages. So you guys who are listening to the podcast, especially because a lot of our, right now it's like midnight in Europe, but we had people from Africa and Poland and, Russia and the whole thing. And so as you guys are listening, if you want to get a hold of Shakti's books, they're very likely in a language that will be much more applicable to you than just English. So I'm excited about that. So, Shakti, let's talk a little bit about you and how you got started on this path before we get into the meat of your books and all the stuff that you share with us. How did you get started? Because you have like a beautiful career, just beautiful.
Thank you. Well, there was not one moment where I got started. It was a kind of a gradual thing. I had always just been fascinated. Even as a kid, I was curious about, about life and why are we here and what's this all about and what is the meaning and how can I make my life as fulfilling as possible. And so I was interested in psychology, and then I kind of found out about metaphysics, and so this was in my early 20s. Basically, I was just really interested in all this and going to workshops, and I actually ended up traveling around the world. A friend and I went across country. Across many countries, from Italy to India, in an old VW van, and then continued going on around. So when I got back from that trip, which was a couple of years trip, I had really been exposed to a lot of interesting things, including some of the Eastern philosophies, and which, was quite fascinating to me. And then when I got back to California, I just knew that I was on some kind of quest or path, and that if I followed that, if I followed what I really felt to do, I just sort of felt that things would fall into place. Things would get clear. I didn't have to know ahead of time what to do, which is good because I would never have guessed. But, I lived with a community of people for a while, and they were giving workshops and seminars, and I got involved with running some of those workshops and helping with them, and I just sort of fell into becoming a workshop leader on a very small scale. And at a certain point, I thought, I've gathered all these ideas and things that really are exciting to me about how to live my life in a more fulfilling way, and I was teaching them in my workshops, and I thought, I'd like to gather this all together and put it in a little booklet, just something real easy to use that we could give to the people in our workshops. And so I sat down and I started to write. Now, let me just check in with you. I don't want to go on for too long here if you have to take a break or anything. So
no. We have plenty of time before our break. Yep. You go ahead.
Okay.
Just talk away.
Okay.
We're all interested.
So I got all excited at the prospect of writing what I thought was going to be a booklet. And I sat down and I started writing, and it was going great. And then after a little, I don't know, a couple of months maybe or something, all of a sudden I just hit a wall where I couldn't write anymore. And I realized that there was a voice, one of the voices, many voices that we have inside of us, there was a voice in me saying, who do you think you are? I mean, you know, you're too young, you haven't done that much, you're only at the beginning of this whole thing. What makes you think you could write anything that anybody would want to look at, you know? So I believed that. I went, oh my gosh, it's true. I was just a hippie living in Berkeley, California. I didn't even have a car, you know. So that really got me. Okay, I guess I shouldn't be doing this. So I stopped, and I stopped for about a year. And the combination of my boyfriend at the time was a writer, and he just said, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be anything in particular. Just write down, you know, what you're inspired to say, and don't worry about what happens with it. And besides that, I had actually sent out a little notice to the people on my mailing list that I was going to be, you know, writing this book, and if they wanted to order it, they could for $5. And a number of people sent me in the money, and then after a while, I realized I wasn't writing the book. So I contacted them and said, shall I send the money back? And they all went, oh, no, just send it to us whenever it is. So eventually I did sit down again and just go ahead and do it. And it turned into a book, and it was a book that we published ourselves. We didn't even try to deal with any big publishers or anything. We just sort of did it our own way. We knew nothing about business or nothing about what we were doing.
So funny.
But something was guiding us. I mean, you have to look back and say, boy, something was definitely guiding us. And so eventually, Creative Visualization, which was the first book, it just sort of got to be known. People would tell their friends about it, and it became sort of an underground bestseller in this area. And then eventually the small edition of it was picked up by a major publisher and it started to get distribution. And it just sold itself. We never really knew how to sell it or do anything about that, and it just happened. It was meant to happen. And also, I got out of the way enough to let it happen.
Great
so
point.
It's just been selling ever since for 30 years, never been out of print, and it has steady sales. And I think the new generations are reading it now.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And, you know, it's interesting that you said what you said, because as you were saying that, I was getting these parallels of back then and now. I mean, that was in the early 1980s, right, that you were talking about or referring to?
78. Yeah,
78. Okay. So, and
it's published.
It's amazing because it's so many of the things you said, like, self-publishing, which is so popular now with the Internet, and you didn't have the Internet back then. Sending it to your mailing list, which is what all entrepreneurs talk about. You know, we have to have a list. We have to have our list. That's, you know, everybody thinks these are newfangled ideas. You were doing it back in 1978. You know, and that's amazing. So let's talk a little bit about the core of this, because I know that with Living in the Light in particular, that was I guess, which one do you want to start with, Creative Visualization or Living in the Light? Which makes more sense to talk about first?
Well, let's go and see in order. Let's do Creative Visualization first, and then Living in the Light.
Okay, so I know that people
or whatever you want. That's my
no. I think that's a great order, and that's fine with me. We hear all about manifesting now. We had The Secret, and that seemed to open up everybody's world. You've been talking about this for a very long time, way before The Secret came out. Isn't it amazing how media
it was still a secret at that point?
Yeah, exactly. And so, in your from your point of view, what is creative visualization? I know it seems
it's really
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I know it seems self-explanatory from the title, but go ahead. Go ahead and explain your.
Okay, the creative visualization is a tool, a technique that you can use, and it's very effective for many things on many levels. And the essence of it is just that you let yourself imagine something that you desire, something that you want, something that you need. You imagine having that or imagining experiencing that. And just imagine it as if it were already so, as if it were already happening. And let yourself really experience that as fully and deeply as possible. And then you go about your life and you just notice whether, something comes along that seems to be connected with that. And more often than not, some door opens, something happens as a result of imagining that something is true or is already there. So that's the basic essence of it. Now, there are many different ways you can do it. Most often, when we're teaching it and using it in, this kind of work, most often you're doing it with, one-to-one. But it can be done in groups, too. Usually what we do is we get the person into, or if it's ourselves, we get into a very quiet state. We can go someplace where we'll have some quiet for a few minutes. It can just be 5 or 10 minutes. And then relax your body, relax your mind, let yourself go into a quiet place inside. And then imagine that whatever it is you want, let's take a real practical one, because it's good on the super practical, down-to-earth things, and it's also good for just, having better self-esteem or just anything like that you can use it for. Let's use it for a real practical one, okay?
Okay,
so
great.
Suppose you're not crazy about where you're living. You'd really like to have a different place to live, an apartment or whatever it is for you, a log cabin. And let yourself just imagine that imagine yourself having that thing or enjoying that or experiencing that. And see if you can really get the feeling of it, because that's the deepest thing, if you can really get a feeling of what that would be like. And you imagine that that's already happening. So it's not something you're wanting, asking for so much as that you are, affirming it.
Yeah.
And then you just, as I said, kind of go about your life and do what you're doing. And often something will happen, the kind of thing where, you're talking to somebody and you mention that you're looking for a new apartment or whatever, and they say, oh, my sister's just moving out of hers. It's really beautiful, blah, 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 blah. Turns out to be the right place. Of course, it can also not turn out to be the right place, but very, very often, if you're open, these things occur. And they may come in a different way or a different time or look a little different, but essentially it's what the response to what you've asked for. I want to clarify something before I forget. A lot of people get hung up about creative visualization. We really should call it creative imagination, because you do not have to see a clear picture or any picture at all. And a lot of people, don't see a picture and feel like they don't know how to do it. They're failing. It really isn't important. I mean, some people are very visual and it comes to them that way, and that's great. But many of us are more feeling oriented or thought oriented. So we might, just be feeling what it would be like, or we might be thinking about it or writing about it. So there are different ways to do it, but the essence of it is, as I've already explained, imagining what you want, something that you want. Now, of course, there's a whole lot that happens about when it happens and when it doesn't happen and so forth, which we can go into. If you want me to, I can now, or we can in a while. Or
well, believe it or not, we're already to our first break. Can you believe that? We've already made it to our first break. It's,
Great.
what I love about this show. So it's a great segue into our first break. And then when we come back, I'd love to go more into that. And we have callers who are also waiting on the line, so we'll take your calls. If you're waiting, please.
That'd be great.
And things are just rocking and rolling here on the Aha Moments radio show. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll take your calls. We're going to talk more about creative visualization. We're going to get into living in the light. And if you want to call in while you're waiting on the break, please do. 347-215-9485. It's 347-215-9485. I'm Mari. You're listening to the Aha Moments radio show, and we will be right back.
Do you ever get a hunch about something and ignore it, only to find out later you were right after all? Do you know that you're intuitive but need help interpreting what you get? Need quick answers to burning questions but don't have the time to wait for a private reading? Then Mari's Intuitive Living Oracle cards are the tool for you. 45 gorgeous laminated cards and a full book of interpretations come together in a beautiful velvet bag. The cards have been designed and energized to give you the answers right now. No more sleepless nights weighing pros and cons. Ask the cards your questions and see what message your intuition has for you. To learn more and get your deck now, go to the store at www.ahamomentsinc.com and click on the Intuitive Living cards now. That's the store at ahamomentsinc.com. The answers are truly within your reach.
Are you at a crossroads in your life, facing big decisions about your life purpose, business, relationships, or other major issues? Are you wondering why you may be delayed in getting what you want? Or if you have special guides who are helping you? Then investing in a private intuitive reading with Mari is just what you need. As a third-generation spiritual intuitive, Mari has worked with thousands of clients over the past 18 years. During your private session, you will learn who your guides are, receive insight on the core issues that need attention, and get new perspective, clarity, and inspiration on what to do next. To register, go to www.ahamomentsinc.com and click on the Work with Mari tab to get all of the details. There are a limited number of spots each month, so go to www.ahamomentsinc.com for yours now.
Step back in time to the very beginning, before life as we know it existed. Stones have been on this earth since before the inception of man. They are keepers of ancient wisdom and messages. Tap into the profound wisdom of stones and let your journey begin at the Rock Girl Sacred Stone School. Let the Rock Girl take you back to those ancient days to learn firsthand the language and the secrets of stones. The Rock Girl will teach you how to develop your very own technique of communicating with them, allowing you to embark on your own path of self-discovery. Courses include Reiki, psychic development, chakra balancing and auric cleansing, hands-on healing, and more. Visit sacredstoneschool.com for classes and workshops taught exclusively by the Rock Girl of therockgirl.com.
Hi, this is Dr. Dane here. Have you felt different your whole life? Have you always been a dreamer, a seeker, an outsider? Always feeling wrong no matter how hard you try to fit in? What if there's a completely different way of being in the world? What if you, truly being you, could change not only your life, but the world? If you'd like to find out, please go to beingyouclass.com. 12 years ago, I was on the verge of suicide, and I came into contact with some amazing tools that changed everything for me. And I'd like to share some of those tools with you. Go to www.beingyouclass.com and check out the free video series I created especially for you. What if this is what you've been looking for? What if the tools to change everything are available now? What's possible now that hasn't ever been possible before? To sign up for this free series, go to beingyouclass.com. Consider this a gift to help you create the change you've always wanted to create, but didn't have the tools to make it happen. Is now the time? beingyouclass.com.
Hello, we are back. You're listening to the Aha Moments radio show, and tonight we are celebrating the work and career and the charisma and the wonder of Shakti Gawain, who is absolutely my very first spiritual teacher, and I'm so excited, Shakti, that you're here tonight, and welcome back. I know we talked about creative visualization in the first segment, but I wanted to go into living in the light because we have so many callers calling in, so we wanted to make sure we get to some of the calls. And but I also want to make sure that we talk about this book, this 25th anniversary edition now. How did you come? Tell us about the book and how you.
Okay. Well, having written creative visualization. And having it very gradually became a bestseller. It wasn't like, the overnight thing at all, which is probably good because it gave me a chance to prepare for dealing with the whole thing. But, excuse me. So it was about 7 years before I wrote another book because by that time I felt like I had something else to say, which was all about how we can trust and find our inner guidance, that within each of us there's an innate wisdom that can actually show us step by step how, what we need to do. And and it's a fairly easy matter of, learning to go deep inside, but this time instead of actively imagining something, you ask for what you might need, like I need more clarity about blah, 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 or show me how to da-da-da-da. So it's a more receptive form where you're asking for the wisdom from within you to guide you. Yeah. And, it can be cultivated and developed. We all have that ability. It's not like psychic. I mean, an extreme of it would probably be psychic, but for us it's just, most of us, it's just sort of an easy, natural part of our lives, except that, that's how it would be, except that our culture doesn't really, it doesn't give us two very good messages about intuition and learning to trust that. So most of us have to kind of find that on our own. So anyway, living in the light is about many things, but essentially it's about how to develop and use our inner guidance in our lives in a practical way on a daily basis.
Yes, and I know that there was a couple of key points in living in the light that I thought were really important. One is the masculine and feminine energy, because you really that was one of the first. I know I talk about it a lot in what I teach now, but I think it's so important. Can you talk a little bit about that and how that works for us, even in the creative visualization process, doesn't it? You have kind of knowing. Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, it's the yin yang. It's the basic masculine and feminine energies that are in everything and everyone. It's one way to look at it. Some people aren't comfortable with the ideas of masculine and feminine. That's fine. You don't need to use that, but it can be really quite a lovely thing to work with. I will say, though, that I wrote that in 1986, and then I've revised it since then. But now I have I do work with masculine and feminine. I think it's very powerful. But I've also begun, well, not more than begun, I've been doing for quite some time a work that involves getting in touch with many different selves within us. Yes. Not just like, when I said the voice within me, I meant the intuitive voice. Yes. But then I began to discover that I have a lot of voices, and no, I'm not a multiple personality, but we actually all have different selves within us. Each of them is there to do a job and to be, and to be part of who we are. And so that became really fascinating for me to learn how there are many different voices in me, and so that's the work I've been doing in recent times. And the masculine and feminine fits with that.
Yes. I was actually in one of your workshops with you live, and we worked on that. That was when you first started coming out with that particular, evolution of that work. And I remember you saying to me, Mari, you're in the back of the pickup truck and somebody else is driving. It's one of those other voices.
Oh, in the trunk, yeah.
And you're in the trunk and somebody else is driving. And so now we have to figure out just who's driving this car of yours and get you out of the trunk and back into the driver's seat. And I'll never forget that analogy because it's the first time I had actually heard it. But it was very, very powerful. I think that you talk about the darker places within ourselves, and I think that that's so important because there's so many, especially with mass media having sort of globs onto this work, there's just like people don't want to think that there's a dark place. They want to know that the angels are there, the fairies are there, we're going to all manifest, and we're all going to be in bliss and nirvana, and it's just, a twinkle of the nose and it all is okay. And then when we do hit, a little bit more advanced work, and I say, beginner's luck is over. Yes, the angel parking spots have happened, but now you're going into the big stuff because your whole life is blowing up because you've asked for all these changes, and in order to give you what it is you're asking for, things, sometimes you have chaos that happens, right? I mean, and so these darker places. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, it sounds sort of scary and creepy. I'm glad you're bringing it up because it's absolutely what is needed in I think in our consciousness today. It's more understanding of what the shadow or the dark. It's actually all that is any part of ourselves that we have not discovered or accepted, that we've tried to bury or hide or push away because of the messages we got early in life about what's good and what's bad and what's right and what's wrong and how we should be. And so we're always we're working with discovering what's in those places. And it doesn't, none of these parts of us are bad. None of them are wrong. None of them innately are bad. They all have their purpose. If they've been buried and hidden away for a long time, they can be a bit distorted, and they need to have they need to adjust that. Mm-hmm. But really, what we're looking at is just anything that we haven't yet discovered that's a part of us.
Okay.
And it follows us around like our shadow until we pay attention to it, and then we find in that is exactly what we need for whatever issue we're dealing with.
Mhm. Yeah.
Maybe I'll give a quick example of that.
Go ahead.
Let's say you're a person. I'm sure you're not, Mari, but I am. Let's say we have a voice inside that I call the pusher. And that's the one that just has a nice long list of important things that we need to get done pretty much all the time.
Yes.
And, right? You relate to that at all?
Just a little bit, yep.
I'm sure most entrepreneurs can. Okay, so, but, I'm not even aware of that. That's just how I am. That's just who I am. I do this. I work hard. I have a lot to do. I'm very motivated, and usually that means that I'm really accomplishing a lot, too.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the problem? Well, generally the problem is that we're usually out of balance with these things. So most of us who are, major drivers, pushers, don't really know too much about how to really let go and relax and enjoy themselves. And, now sometimes we'll have a balance of that, but the majority of people who are really driven don't have a lot of time for just relaxing and just being. We're really good at doing. Not all of us, but most of us, many of us are very good at doing in our culture. Doing is really respected. Being, to most of us, seems like kind of a waste of time.
Yes.
You just, what are you doing? Nothing. It's relaxing. Well, what's that? So then when you discover that lack of balance there, and you begin to realize that this pusher or driver is really a self, and the potential beer is too, but it's kind of pushed down, hidden away, not getting to come out and help us to relax and enjoy. So they're really kind of like people living in us, and we can, with this technique, dialogue with them and find out a lot more about what's going on inside of us, and it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So anyway, that gives you some idea.
Well, it's a great.
Hopefully.
And it's so meaty. We could talk for days.
Yeah.
On this,
yeah.
For sure.
We probably should. Let's have some questions.
We're going to get some callers. Yeah, we're going to take some callers because people have been waiting very patiently. If you'd like to call in, it's 347-215-9485. So it's 347-215-9485. Okay, so we're going to get to the callers. Lenise in Memphis, how are you tonight?
Hello, I'm well. How are you all?
Oh, good. How can we help you? What's your question?
Well, I'm finally finding out about how to release and let go. And just like to mention, something came to mind yesterday. I found a 4-leaf clover. I was walking, and I looked down, and there were all these 4-leaf clovers. I said, I'm going to find a 4-leaf clover. And I didn't have to search for it. I just looked at it, and there it was, and it came to mind as you all were talking. I said, I guess I manifested that.
You probably did. You sure did.
Yeah, I want to learn how to channel that energy for my highest good to create what I want.
Yeah, so what's your question?
Good.
Well,
maybe she just wanted to share that.
Yeah, I wanted to share that, but also I'd like some advice on how to just really let go and learn how to create. And, for instance, I'm having a health challenge now, and I'm kind of tense about it and getting upset as opposed to just waiting for the change to come.
Are you in your car?
I'm walking. I
happen to
be walking. I have to take a walk.
Good.
Okay. So, Shakti?
Yeah, that's tough. I'm sorry to hear that. And have you, by chance, read either Creative Visualization or Living in the Light?
I have. I've looked at Creative Visualization, and I have one of your CDs too. Maybe I need to pull that out. Not a CD, a tape.
Well, no, not necessarily, but just if you hadn't, I would say give that a try to begin with. But and probably Living in the Light would be a good next step if you haven't done that. But basically, I would like to see you find some support. It's real important that you have a lot of support, especially if you're dealing with a health challenge. And if you can afford to go to a therapist or to a group, a lot of times they have groups that don't cost anything. I would say it's just the time to really reach out and get as much emotional support as you can. And maybe, free up, if you can, a little bit of creative. You don't do it, just this could be private. You don't have to show anybody, but do paint something or write something or just any way that you can allow things to come forth that might need to be heard. Okay, and just wherever you can get support.
Okay.
That's what I would say. And just make
I think everything's going to be okay. I'm just, having moments of what if.
Well, sure, absolutely. And you just have to be real compassionate with yourself. It's natural to feel that way in a situation. You don't have to try to push that away or not,
Okay.
But just love yourself as much as you can.
Okay.
And make yourself more important than anybody else right now. I'm saying this, and I know how hard it is to do it. But if you can move a little bit into taking better care of yourself and not focusing as much on other people.
Okay. That makes sense. Looks like I was going through that lesson before everything got started.
Well, you probably activated big change. This is big change.
Yeah.
It seems like we have to get shaken up a lot of times to get to the big change.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what I said
I only
to
have 2
myself.
minutes
Why
here
did
to
I
tell
have
you.
to
I wish I could
go through all of this just to do the right thing. It's basically lifestyle changes that I have to do, and eat right, exercise, and do all of that, and everything should be okay.
Good.
Well, Lenise, wishing you very rapid healing, and thank you for calling in tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great night. So, believe it or not, we are already to our second break, and I know we have some others on the line. If you'd like to call in, we will take your call on the other side of the break, so please hang on the line. And if you'd like to call in, 347-215-9485. It's 347-215-9485. I'm Mari. You're listening to the Aha Moments radio show, and we'll be right back.
Hi, this is Dr. Dane here. Have you felt different your whole life? Have you always been a dreamer, a seeker, an outsider? Always feeling wrong no matter how hard you try to fit in? What if there's a completely different way of being in the world? What if you, truly being you, could change not only your life, but the world? If you'd like to find out, please go to beingyouclass.com. 12 years ago, I was on the verge of suicide, and I came into contact with some amazing tools that changed everything for me. And I'd like to share some of those tools with you. Go to www.beingyouclass.com and check out the free video series I created especially for you. What if this is what you've been looking for? What if the tools to change everything are available now? What's possible now that hasn't ever been possible before? To sign up for this free series, go to beingyouclass.com. Consider this a gift to help you create the change you've always wanted to create, but didn't have the tools to make it happen. Is now the time? beingyouclass.com.
Step back in time to the very beginning, before life as we know it existed. Stones have been on this earth since before the inception of man. They are keepers of ancient wisdom and messages. Tap into the profound wisdom of stones and let your journey begin at the Rock Girl Sacred Stone School. Let the Rock Girl take you back to those ancient days to learn firsthand the language and the secrets of stones. The Rock Girl will teach you how to develop your very own technique of communicating with them, allowing you to embark on your own path of self-discovery. Courses include Reiki, psychic development, chakra balancing and auric cleansing, hands-on healing, and more. Visit sacredstoneschool.com for classes and workshops taught exclusively by the Rock Girl of therockgirl.com.
Do you ever get a hunch about something and ignore it, only to find out later you were right after all? Do you know that you're intuitive but need help interpreting what you get? Need quick answers to burning questions but don't have the time to wait for a private reading? Then Mari's Intuitive Living Oracle cards are the tool for you. 45 gorgeous laminated cards and a full book of interpretations come together in a beautiful velvet bag. The cards have been designed and energized to give you the answers right now. No more sleepless nights weighing pros and cons. Ask the cards your questions and see what message your intuition has for you. To learn more and get your deck now, go to the store at www.ahamomentsinc.com and click on the Intuitive Living cards now. That's the store at ahamomentsinc.com. The answers are truly within your reach.
Are you at a crossroads in your life? Facing big decisions about your life purpose, business, relationships, or other major issues? Are you wondering why you may be delayed in getting what you want? Or if you have special guides who are helping you? Then investing in a private intuitive reading with Mari is just what you need. As a third-generation spiritual intuitive, Mari has worked with thousands of clients over the past 18 years. During your private session, you will learn who your guides are, receive insight on the core issues that need attention, and get new perspective, clarity, and inspiration on what to do next. To register, go to www.ahamomentsinc.com and click on the Work with Mari tab to get all of the details. There are a limited number of spots each month, so go to www.ahamomentsinc.com for yours now.
We are back. You're listening to the Aha Moments radio show. I'm Mari, and tonight we are speaking with Ms. Shakti Gawain, who is the author of Living in the Light and Creative Visualization. And we've been chatting on the break and having such a good time. What a treat this is for me, you guys, I tell you. But I know we have another caller who's been waiting now for 3 segments. So let's get to our caller, and then we'll see what we can squeeze in before the show wraps in just a few minutes. So let's see. Jay, in Canada, how are you?
Hey, pretty good.
Thanks.
How are things going there?
Great.
Hey, you're welcome.
How can we help you tonight? What question do you have?
My question is regarding the changes that are going on this earth right now. And just wondered how your books are helping other people to open and grow and find their life purpose and all the things that we're supposed to meant to do on this earth, and help and, things like that. So.
Yeah, well, it's a fascinating time. It's an amazing time right now on the earth. As we all know, huge changes are happening. And I think that the mass consciousness, the group consciousness, we're all a part of that. And we also have our own individual consciousness. So as we're working on becoming more conscious ourselves and doing all these things we're doing, to develop ourselves and to create the lives we want, all of that work we do it sort of goes out into the mass consciousness. So we're kind of reflecting between the mass consciousness and the individual consciousness. Everything that we see out there is kind of a reflection of our own process. What I believe is happening right now in the world is that huge change is taking place. And just like in your own personal life, when huge change happens, it's disconcerting. Even if it's good, it can be just a little hard to deal with, things changing so much and so fast. And if it looks really negative, then it's even more difficult and scary. But to me, it's like, we've swept a lot of stuff under the rug, talking again maybe about the shadow side or whatever, things we haven't wanted to deal with. We've swept under the rug and hoped that nobody would find out. And then we've done that in the mass consciousness, too. We've just sort of said, okay, well, this stuff is hard to deal with, so let's just sweep it away and, pretend it's not there. And now, for whatever reason, increasingly for many years, but it seems to be hitting kind of a peak right now, there's a lot of change happening, and it seems scary, but just judging from how it reflects our own personal life, if you meet these challenges and work with them and use them as what I feel they're meant to be, which is teaching for us. Every experience you have, even though it might seem to be a negative one, you can get a teaching from that if you look at it that way. So, trying to sum this up in a couple minutes is impossible. But basically what I'm saying and feeling is, what if we all assume that what's happening now is right? Now we just have to discover the rightness in it. We just have to discover how it affects us and how we can go through the changes we need to, and then as we do that, the world kind of changes too. Does that make sense?
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, you're right about sweeping. Pardon me?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jay. What were you saying?
Oh, did I lose?
I was going to say, yeah, you're right about sweeping stuff under the rug. I know a lot of people have done it, and I've done some of that stuff too, and it's coming up, and I just wondered, how is it coming up? Like, I know I can recognize some of the things, but how? how is the energies affecting us? So it's bringing this stuff out. Is it a love energy, or is it just the energy of maybe it could be solar flares or something like that is affecting us, that it's bringing this stuff out?
Well, I would consider it the life. I would consider it the life force, the life energy. We're all connected. We all have life energy flowing through us, and we have life energy flowing through the whole mass of people. And it's that life energy just carries us along wherever we need to go for our own growth and development and healing. And sometimes, that's why listening to your intuition can be such a good thing, learning to listen to your inner guidance, because it'll give you something to hold on to as you walk through the challenging times.
Yes. Well, Jay, thank you for calling in tonight. Hopefully that was helpful.
That's a great question.
Yeah.
Yeah, great question.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great night. Okay, so Ms. Shakti, this has been fun, and I want to make sure
it has.
It's funny that Jay brought that question up, because that was one of my questions for you about global changes. So we actually covered that.
Yeah.
And I'm excited.
I wanted to cover it too.
Yeah. We have only about 9 minutes left to the show, but I wanted to give you some time to just talk a little bit about what's next for you. How can people get your books? Any workshops coming up? Anything?
Well, first I'll just mention what I was talking with you about, because we were talking about this in the break, and I was telling Mari, and I'll tell all of you, after 30 years of being on the road all over the world teaching and having a really amazing experience, a lot, not that it wasn't difficult in many ways, but very exciting. And now I'm ready to not travel for work. I'm just ready to stay home. And that feels so good. I've been doing that increasingly in the last few years, and it's just, that's what is really great for me. And I am doing some workshops. I didn't for a few years. I just had to take off the time and really just give it to myself. But now I'm doing some workshops. Mostly I'm doing little intimate, small workshops, and I like that better, although the big ones can be fun sometimes too. So that's what's happening with me, and meanwhile, I do have a website.
Okay.
And in a minute, I'll say it, and so people might need a minute to get a pen and paper or whatever. I'm doing, as I said, a few workshops, mostly here in my home, and
you're based in California,
and
right?
Yeah. So I will. I'll give you. I'll spell out the name now. Okay. I'll say it first. It's ShaktiGawain.com. Pretty easy. You just have to know how to spell Shakti Gawain. So SHAKTI, and then all one word, GAWAIN.com. ShaktiGawain.com. I'm sure you can look it up if you didn't get that written down. And there should be some word about what workshops and things I'm doing. I'm changing my mind a lot, so things may come and go a little bit.
Love that.
And on the website there you can see all my books. I've written about 12 books, actually. It's just that Living in the Light and Creative Visualization are the most well-known. Yeah. And I'm working on another book about relationship.
Ooh.
But... yeah, which I have a lot of interesting things to say about that.
But
I don't know how soon it's going to get done. We'll see.
I love it.
So let's see. I think that kind of covers it.
Okay. That's cool.
Is there anything else I should say, Mari?
About all of that? No, I want to, since we have a few minutes, I wanted to ask you a little bit about relationships, because that was fun. It was, Jay asked about the global changes. That was on my list. You just mentioned relationships. That was on my list. So can we talk we have a couple of minutes. Why don't we talk a little bit about some of your core ideas about that?
Okay.
I know
if you think back to what I was talking... What?
No, I know that you've, in the past, what I've read and what we've explained in the workshops I was in, it was about relationships being mirrors for us. So is this new work an evolution of that?
Yeah, and if you think about all these different selves within us, and then we get in a relationship with somebody and all the selves that are in them,
oh boy,
you can imagine that it gets a little bit complicated.
Yeah.
In fact, it's a wonder that we make it through it all, because it's quite intense. We're dealing with all of this. It's also fascinating and exciting, and I think we're just in territory that nobody's ever been before, in terms of what we want from our relationships and how we do them and how we are learning to do them. So, yeah, that's one of the main focuses for me. I'm fascinated with relationship, but every relationship in our life can be a teacher or a mirror to us. A mirror meaning it's reflecting. We're seeing our reflection, and so that can help us get more conscious. When I say relationship, I don't just mean romantic partnership. Definitely, that's an important one. But every relationship, friendship, family, coworkers, somebody you talk to in the drugstore. I mean, we have many different reflections and teachers. And depending on how we react to somebody, that will tell us a lot about the energy that's going on between them.
Oh, interesting. Very interesting. Do you have the name of your book yet, or are you just still plugging away?
Not sure yet. But I was just going to say, just using the example I did before about the pusher, the person with the pusher who couldn't relax. Good chance that person will get in a relationship with somebody who's very relaxed and laid back, but doesn't do much. And then initially the attraction is incredible. It's like, oh yeah, this one's so powerful and this one's so lovely and open, and then as we live together and have children or whatever, it gets much more difficult to appreciate our partners and easier to criticize them that they're not more like we are.
Wow.
But in fact they're there. We're each there because we're trying to learn what the other one has.
Wow.
So that's just a little thumbnail sketch of a quite fascinating process.
A thumbnail sketch into a really big vat of stuff I want to know more about.
Yeah, well, that's why I got to get this book written someday.
Well, one
thing I would like to mention is...
Go ahead.
Yeah, and I'd like to mention that a lot of this work I'm doing now comes from some people who are really my mentors and teachers, and I'll just say their names. It's a couple, Hal Stone and his wife, Sidra Stone, and they've created the voice dialogue work that I use, and they're wonderful. And they have some books, which you can find on my website.
Oh, great.
So
great.
I would recommend those, too. And they're really the masters of relationships, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, believe it or not, we are at the end of the show.
It's time.
Can you believe it?
Well, it's been lovely. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shakti.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here. If you want to learn more about Shakti and all of her great contributions and get her books and keep track of her as she changes her mind through her well-earned process of, you see, you're allowed now. Where I'm at in my career, I'm not allowed to change. I'm just I have to constantly.
Oh.
But
well, we'll see about that.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. I change my mind all the time anyway. So, anyway, ShaktiGawain.com. So it's ShaktiGawain.com. So, also, if you would like to listen to an archive of the show, you can just come right back to the site at blogtalkradio.com/aha moments, and the archive will be available probably, I'm not sure, I think it's available pretty soon after we finish on the show, but certainly by tomorrow morning. So I encourage you to let your friends know all about Shakti and her great work as we celebrate the 25th anniversary of her Living in the Light book and all of your contributions. So thank you again, Shakti, for being here. We really love having you. And when you finish that romance,
my pleasure.
And when you finish that relationship book, I'd like to invite you back on the show. I'd love to do a show talking
You'll
about
have to
that.
make it a longer show.
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We'll make it a longer
Sure.
show, but you have an open invitation, so you just let me know. All right, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's it for tonight. So you know my motto, you truly can have exactly what you want, and you absolutely deserve it too. See you next week, everybody. Have a great night.
You've been listening to the Aha Moments radio show with your host, Mari. Be sure to visit her blog and website at www.ahamomentsinc.com. That's AHA, moments with an S, inc.com. Also join Mari on Facebook at www.facebook.com/ahamomentsinc and Twitter at twitter.com/ahamoments. We can't wait to see you there.